Yo. All right, team. How we doing today? A lot on the agenda today. Gonna be reacting to current events, as it were. Reading articles from real news sources. Some crazy shit going on. Hi, Cemetery Man. Could we get confirmation in the chat that y'all can hear me? Okay. That the sound is okay. And that you are okay. That would be appreciated. We're gonna be going over this Warner Brothers Netflix deal as it's the talk of the town this week. I haven't fully fleshed out my thoughts on it yet. I think it's probably really, really bad, but you know, I haven't really read too much about it. I just generally think that monopolies are a bad idea. I know that's this crazy opinion that I have. Sorry to get super leftist political up in here, but you know, I think monopolies are probably not a good idea. Then I'm told Kino has a sale going on, so we can check that, see if there's anything new this time around. And then if we have time, I'll go over some recent watches. Yeah, so if we could get confirmation on the sound, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be working. I see my sound bar working, but, you know, you never know. See, we got 5 people here, so if we could all say hi to me and to each other, that would be pretty cool. Maybe I'll just give it a second to people to mosey on in. How was y'all's day? What did you guys watch today? Anything cool? Anything fun? Hmm. We also have our typical reset for the month of December. So if you want to help me pay my bills and other things, then that would be greatly appreciated. Sound is great. Thank you, Cemetery Man. I appreciate that. And thank you for being here. All right. Let's see. I guess I don't really super want to start this segment until we have a little bit more people in here, but it is what it is. I don't know. A little bit of a smaller crowd today. It's okay. If you are here, feel free to say hi. Just looking at my hair. The roots definitely need touching up. That's just like getting to be straight up blonde there. A small child the other day said that I had pink hair. Suppose that's accurate now. That was a good indication that it was time to re-dye it. So I'll need to get some of that and see how that goes. Sorry, I was just reading an email I got. We just watched Sorry Baby, tough watch, but incredibly told story. Yeah, that's in my top 5 of the year, like easily. That shit is so good. It's a great cat movie too. But if you're a fan of just like really excellently told dramas, slash comedies, I think it's pretty funny as well. Yeah, non-binary director, which is pretty cool. Very queer sensibility to the film itself. Yeah, I have a review for it on my channel, so check that out if you want. But yeah, it's a good one. Damn, y'all, last week we had a stream that was like super popping off, and was thinking maybe this would be the the new time slot. I guess I should give it a few weeks to really get a good sample, but you know. Nosferatu, thanks for being here. Nosferatu, did you watch anything fun today or anything at all recently that you want to share with the class? Yeah, I was hoping to get to at least like double digits before we start, but I might just go ahead and start reading articles and we can go from there. All right, well, I don't want to keep the fine folks who are here waiting, so let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that my screen sharing is working okay. That looks good to me. Cool. All right. What to know about Netflix's $83 billion deal for Warner Brothers Discovery? You know, I actually don't know if I can get in trouble for just reading this on stream. Let me go check that first. Do me a favor, y'all. Oh, I don't want to share that. I want to make sure that that's something I can do without getting in legal trouble. Do me a favor, chat, and vamp for me while I do some quick research. Not today, but I saw the... Is that a Q or an O? Q? Lazarus documentary on the Criterion Channel. It was really good, made me super sad. I don't know what that is, but that's interesting. Let me look that up real quick. Oh. Okay. Okay. I know who this is. Never mind. I didn't know that that was out. I'll have to check that out. Artist who wrote and sang Goodbye Horses. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So I can't just fucking like read this whole thing off on stream. So I'll be better about. I'll be more discerning with which parts I actually show and read and which parts I just sort of summarize. Okay, Netflix announced on Friday that it planned to buy Warner Brothers Discovery in an $82 billion deal that could redefine Hollywood and the broader media landscape. Bringing the century-old Hollywood studio under Netflix's umbrella would give the world's largest paid streaming service expansive power over theater owners and and entertainment industry unions. It would also give Netflix access to more content and valuable entertainment brands like Harry Potter and Batman. Okay. The entertainment conglomerates Paramount and Comcast were also bidders. Netflix pledged to continue theatrical releases for movies from Warner Brothers Discovery. Okay, so... Okay, Night of the World says, I finally watched Joaquin Trier's Thelma. I really liked it. I haven't seen that one, but I saw Sentimental Value this week, and I really, really enjoyed that. We need to keep innovating and investing in stories that matter most to audiences, and that's what this deal is about. The combination of Netflix and Warner Brothers creates a better Netflix for the long run. I guess. I mean, It's probably a good deal for Netflix. You know what I'm saying? All right. Does this mean Warner Brothers movies won't appear in theaters? Netflix says no. Said it planned to maintain Warner Brothers' current operations and build on its strengths, including theatrical releases for films. Maintaining the operation would mean showing some 15 movies a year in theaters. Let's see. A group of film producers sent a letter to Congress on Thursday stating that they had grave concerns about Netflix's buying Warner Brothers Discovery. The authors of the letter did not sign their names for fear of retaliation. Netflix views any time spent watching a movie in a theater as time not spent on their platform. The letter said they have no incentive to support theatrical exhibition and they have every incentive to kill it. He did not share exact details on how the HBO Max streaming service would be presented to consumers in the long term. In the near term, though, the plan is for HBO and HBO Max to operate as a standalone brand. Why? What's the point? I mean, like, I would think that the one advantage of something like this is that you would at least consolidate some streaming services, right? Because, like, we're all pretty much in agreement that there's too many of them, and it doesn't make a ton of sense to have a bunch of shit subscribed, right? Like, I would think that at least from a consumer perspective, the one nice thing that you would get out of it is you could cancel one of your subscriptions and it would just be under one. That would probably only be a nice thing in the short term because I imagine the subscription price would go up to reflect the amount of extra content that you're getting and to sort of make up for the exorbitant amount of fucking money that they just dropped on this shit. But it would at least give the illusion of a nice thing in a transitory period, right? Whereas right now, I feel like you're not even going to be able to save that money in the interim, and then it's just the same thing's gonna happen. Like, it's gonna go away and your prices are gonna go up, right? And like, if all the shit that's on HBO Max is going to be on Netflix, why would you subscribe to HBO Max at all, minus the Netflix stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really understand what the incentive is for consumers here, right? CNN would be spun off into a separate publicly traded company by next year alongside other mainstay cable networks like TNT, Discovery, the Food Network. Gunnar Windefils would lead the new company to be called Discovery Global. Such a fucking nightmare, dude. Like, didn't Paramount just, like... Who did Paramount just consolidate with? Let me look that up. With Skydance. I feel like there was another one, like a year ago. I don't know. It's like exhausting. I felt like Discovery was one of them. Maybe they are merged with Warner Brothers and now they're merging with Netflix. It's a fucking nightmare, dude. All right. Antitrust regulators react. I would hope so, but I don't think so. The fate of the deal is in the hands of federal regulators and will depend on how the Trump administration defines the market these companies control. Well, we've got the best people on the job, so I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Netflix can make all the empty promises they want. It's meaningless. I mean, yeah, like who's holding them to it, right? Like, what? Like, what is incentivizing them to not just do the thing that is the most profitable for them, which would be, you know, I mean, I think it's probably a smaller theatrical windows and if any at all, right? Like, they've pretty famously not loved theatrical releases at all, and they only do it for like award season purposes. And I don't know. I don't see Donald Trump saving the day on this one, right? I quit Netflix after they canceled their show, The OA, after season 2. It was one of the best things I've ever watched. I feel like they have been getting worse and worse ever since. Did it at least end on a nice spot, or was it like not? Was it like in the middle of a really great storyline or something? You know, this is why I don't start new TV shows, because like they can just get fucking canceled all the time, and then I'm just like out in the lurch, you know. Um, Experts say the deal is also expected to face scrutiny from antitrust regulators in Europe. I mean, probably, but I don't know what they can do about that. It ended on a giant cliffhanger and very emotional point. See, you're describing like my worst nightmare. Like I'm watching the best TV show I've ever watched, and like at the right at the edge of the cliff, that's it. It's done, you know? Like I think the worst example of that for me personally is Freaks and Geeks, but at least Freaks and Geeks does end at a place where it would make sense to end. Like if that was actually the end of the series, like I could kind of see it, you know? Like it does still feel like a complete work in and of itself, right? If it fails to get approved, Netflix will be required to pay Warner Brothers Discovery a $5.8 billion breakup fee. That's pretty brutal. That's a pretty brutal cancellation fee. Netflix deal also contains a provision that prevents Warner Brothers from seeking higher bids from Comcast and Paramount. But if Warner Brothers decides to cut ties with Netflix and go with another bid, it will pay the streaming giant $2.8 billion. All right, that's it for that one. Okay, so there's your basic stuff. And then let's see. Let's do a little bit more of just fact capturing, I guess. Let's do some more like catch up on just like what's going on, and then we'll take a look at some like opinion pieces and stuff. Netflix does an about face in a big way. The streaming giant has changed its strategy many times over the years, but the decision to get deeply into theatrical releases may be the most startling yet. In 2022, Ted Sarandos, a co-chief executive of Netflix, said, "We make our movies for our members, and we really want them to watch them on Netflix." Makes sense. In May of this year, he called theatrical distribution an outmoded idea. Okay. And in October, Mr. Sarandos said on an earnings call that the company's goal was to give our members exclusive first-run movies on Netflix. Oh, well, never mind. I don't think that that's a never mind thing. I think that that's a, maybe you should listen to what he's telling you sort of deal, you know? All right, let me jump back over here before I get in trouble with the New York Times. Okay. Okay. The deal is a startling about face and strategy for the streaming giant, which has never wanted to fully commit to the business of putting movies in theaters. Because they're not going to. Because they clearly don't want to, right? Like, this is why nobody likes like mainstream media anymore, right? Is because you're saying this shit and like kind of dancing around the really obvious conclusions here, and it's like oh, here's all these instances where over the course of years the fucking CEO of the premier streaming service is like, we don't want people to go to theaters to watch movies, we want people to stay home and watch them on Netflix. Makes sense, right? And when they buy like one of, if not the biggest company that like actually makes that harder for them, like that gives them more competition, and everybody gets mad at them and they're like, oh, actually it's totally fine, we're just gonna keep things as usual, don't worry about it. Like, it's like, oh, what a weird face turn. Okay. Its former chief executive used to call password sharing harmless, and he resisted advertising for years. Okay, so they usually do 15 films a year. So that's not, at least not a huge decline in what they're trying to do, right? Mr. Sarandos, in a call with investors on Friday, tried to downplay the change. He said that Netflix released 30 movies in theaters this year. What he did not say was that none of those films stayed in theaters very long, having what insiders call a short theatrical window. I mean, that's just what people call it, but whatever. In addition, the company did not report box office results and rarely ran a robust marketing campaign pushing audiences to those movie theaters. It's a strategy that James Cameron called sucker bait in a recent interview. Okay. I wouldn't look at this as a change in approach for Netflix movies or Warner movies for that matter, Mr. Sorrento said. I think over time the windows will evolve to be much more consumer friendly, to be able to meet the audience where they are quicker, all those things that we like to do. Okay. So, I don't know. I think it's pretty obvious that he's just like floating, soft launching the idea that the theatrical windows are going to be as short as he can get away with for award season and to meet contracts with individual filmmakers, right? I think that that's pretty clear. Shortened theatrical windows have been proven to be a cause of box office declines. You say if you put the film in theaters for less time, they sell less tickets. More insightful business tips ahead. According to an analysis of 30 theatrical releases in 2025, releases of 25 days or fewer, quote, produced neither theatrical benefits nor streaming gains, contradicting the idea that audiences are simply waiting for home release. Okay. Sweet spot, the company said it found, is a 26 to 45 day window, which drives both better box office outcomes and higher early streaming market share. That's interesting. I wonder why that is. At least for me, sorry, I'm messing up my words today. A short theatrical window, it does kind of like, because I actually care about seeing a movie in a theater, it does incentivize me to see the limited releases first. And then eventually I'll get to like the large tentpole releases that are there for a while. But I guess the idea is I get to both, right? And if you only have, your person who's only going to get to one, you'll get to the one that's more on your schedule and that's more convenient and that's more enticing because it's bigger, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Should the movies that Warner Brothers traditionally sends to theaters go away, the statement said, it would amount to removing 25% of the annual domestic box office. That big of a drop-off could serve as a death knell not only to Warner Brothers films, but to the entire theatrical ecosystem, which relies on a steady drumbeat of movies to keep consumers in the habit of moviegoing. Yeah, I mean, how are you supposed to pay employees and shit if you don't have any movies to exhibit on certain weeks, or at least ones that people don't want to see, right? You have to keep up the bigger releases to do that, right? Netflix's stated business model does not support theatrical exhibition. In fact, it is the opposite. The president of Cinema United said in a statement, regulators must look closely at the specifics of this proposed transaction and understand the negative impact it will have on consumers, exhibition, and the entertainment industry. The theatrical movie business has been on a downward spiral since the pandemic. This year has been particularly worrisome with a couple of long stretches of fallow times at the theaters. Yeah. The box office will still end the year with higher sales in 2024, but down nearly a quarter compared with pre-pandemic numbers. That's at least slightly encouraging because I know that the summer numbers had been the lowest ever. So something at least is picking up the slack. Maybe Minecraft. Minecraft is the whole reason that we still have theaters, y'all. Fucking Wicked for Good. Saving the theater, right? Some people in the industry are ready to declare the theatrical movie business over. Others say there needs to be more movies and better movies to draw consumers out of their homes. Okay, this is where I'm going to offer my take on how you fix this. Hey, Jeff, thank you for being here. I don't think you need more movies, and I don't think you need better movies. I think there are plenty movies in theaters, and I think there are a lot of good ones in theaters. Like my sort of experiment this year, where I sort of challenged myself to try to see as close to everything as I could, has told me that there are a lot of movies that come out, and a lot of them are really good. So let me share this real quick. I'm pretty pessimistic. I think it's only a matter of time before Weekend at Bernie's 3 wins Best Picture at the Oscars. I don't think we're there yet. I am pessimistic about the future of this art form in this industry. I'm not as pessimistic about people like the Oscars actually caring about good movies. Like, the people who care are going to continue to care, but I think the average person just won't. So let me share this. This is my 2025 list. There's 97 movies on it. So there were 97 films that came out this year that I thought were at least interesting enough to go see. And I mean, the first 2 rows entirely are 9s. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of 8s. So like from here up are movies that I thought were like genuinely great, like really great. And 100% worth going to see. The problem is nobody's going to see them, right? And then you got 7s up until here. And then you've got some 6s, and then from here down are the ones that I thought were, oh well, these need to be moved up because I think that they're both great. But you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 5. So about 20, 25, 24, 20, 21, 22-ish like films that came out this year that I thought were bad out of 97 that I saw. I mean, that's just my opinion, obviously. Like, it's not going to be a perfect one-to-one thing, but I think if you take the time to go see like a movie a week, I think more often than not, if you're taking a little bit of care in like what you choose to see, if you do a little bit of research, if you take chances on original things, like I think more often than not you will have walked out of that with a good experience, having seen a good new movie. Like, I mean, you have to kind of know your taste a little bit. You have to kind of take chances on smaller films, and of course that this is also okay. So all right, let me read this comment real quick. I was mostly being hyperbolic. Actually, a lot decent to good publications still have great end-of-year top film lists like the New York Times, New Yorker, etc. Yeah, I mean, like the critic space is still, I think, in a very healthy spot and still highlighting like really good films that are worth highlighting. I don't think we've gotten purely cynical. I mean, I feel like we're getting a little bit there. I'd have to look at Best Picture nominees and like critic end year lists for like 1973 or 1985 or whatever, but like here I feel like we're throwing a bone to 1 or 2 that are not that good, that are just getting like the casuals in so that they have something to be interested in. Because like, I mean, let's keep it $1.50 for a second. Like if you're looking at damn. If you're the average person being like, I want to watch the Oscars this year, and you look at the Best Picture nominees, if you've not even heard of a single one of them, you're less likely to watch it. That's just how it is, right? So I think that they understand that, and they're picking one to like throw a bone to. And this year, I think it's Wicked for Good, which I think is a genuinely terrible, terrible movie. But, you know, it's also not the worst movie I've seen this year. Like, it could be worse than that, I guess. Um, and like we get some oddball ones, like Amelia Perez last year was such a bizarre one in that it was like a small art film, but it was also like genuinely awful. Like, I don't, that is a complete anomaly to me, and I don't know what to do with that. But so like I understand that from a critical perspective, that like I don't know. I do feel like there's something going on. I mean, maybe genuinely all these people think that Wicked for Good is one of the 10 best movies of the year. I can't understand that if you have also seen the type of films that do make those lists. But yeah. You and I exist on very opposite ends of the spectrum. I only saw 4 films that released this year. You know, that was me 2 years ago. I think last year was the year that I decided I need to start going out to the theater more often. And then this year was the year that I decided I need to try to see everything and see what that's like. I don't know, Steven. I think you should go see more movies than that. Like, there's so many good ones out. And I'm curious, actually, tell me, why is it that you're not interested in going to the theater and seeing new movies? Because that's definitely where I was for a really long time. But I'm curious what that is there. We both saw and loved Superman. I love Superman so much. I'm glad you saw that. Problem here is we don't have any theaters that show anything real small or independent anymore. There's a couple theaters that play classic films, but not really anything new. It's all chain here. So that's the other issue, right? Is that I'm living in Richmond, and this is not like a cinema city. Like, it's not LA, it's not New York, it's not Philly. It's not like Austin or anything like that. But we are fortunate to have a theater that makes a point to book international art house stuff, that makes a point to book like festival movies and stuff. It's like technically a chain, but I think it's like a semi-local chain, and it is closer to an art house than I think a multi. It's like both. It's an art house and a multiplex. And then we have Regals, and we have one AMC like out in the middle, out in Midlothian, so like decently far up north. Not exactly accessible if you live in the city. We used to have a theater here called the Main Art, like Main Artery. That's clever. That did that, but it closed during COVID. Yeah, it's unfortunate how many of them didn't survive. But also, Jeff, how many screens are on the chains near you? Because there is one in particular. There's one Regal in my city that I don't know who's doing their booking, but they make a point to book a lot of smaller stuff, and like not even the art house cinema will have it. Sometimes it's more like genre stuff that I think are less artistically inclined but are still independent, like Jimmy and Stiggs, or like She Rides Shotgun, or a few of those other films, like RLGE type stuff. um that's so fair. You just gave the best excuse, I think, out of all of them. Because I hear a lot of bad excuses for why people aren't going to the movies anymore. But just not being comfortable in public post pandemic, I get it. I wear a mask everywhere, and in the movie theater too. The only time I don't is if it's empty and it's just me. Like, that's how I am. And, you know, it's not the most comfortable situation, but it is what it is. I haven't gotten COVID this year, which is pretty cool. I've been to the theater like 70 times or something, and I haven't gotten sick. So I'm happy about that. Not sure how many screens, but I've never seen anything independent play at them. The local one playing Weapons was a big deal, and that's not anything small release. No, it's not. Jeff, if you don't mind sharing the theater that you're talking about, I'll check their listings on Fandango or whatever, because I am curious. It could be pretty bleak. Like, I know that a lot of cities just don't get anything. And I know that Ryan Disconnected doesn't even live in a particularly big city, but he still gets to see some pretty small stuff. Phoenix Theater. Okay. What city is that? All right, I'm looking it up. Phoenix Theaters, Mall of Monroe. I didn't realize this was a chain. All right, so tomorrow they are playing Five Nights at Freddy's 2, Zootopia 2, Wicked for Good, Now You See Me, The Running Man, and that's it. Boy, you weren't lying. That's brutal. That's it? Shit. So, geez. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3 movies there that I would see, and one that I have seen. But yeah, that's pretty brutal. That doesn't inspire a lot of confidence to be going to the theater every week. Um, I've been working hard to re-engage and help partner overcome some agoraphobia and anxiety. Going to the movies has been backburned over restaurants and friends' houses. That's totally fair. Honestly, it is. 30 minutes north-south, there's an MJR and a Cinemark. Yeah, I mean, but like 30 minutes is kind of a lot. That's a lot to ask of people. I mean, that's a long drive. I mean, you're talking about an hour just to drive, plus the hours you spend at the theater. I mean, that's a long commitment, you know? Like, very rarely will I drive out 20, 30 minutes to see something. Like, I have enough theaters in the general vicinity that I don't have to do that, you know? 20 minutes is closer to what I'm more likely to do, but 30, it gets kind of brutal, especially when there's toll roads and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair, like what you're saying. And I am very sympathetic to that because that's how I was slash am. Like, I have to just kind of power through. I'm sure you've thought of all of this. I don't mean to be like annoying. But like, have you thought about investing in like a really good mask? Like one that is like reusable with like filters and like filters out everything. And that way you could 'cause that's how people I know that are like uber COVID conscious go about that. But they also probably, I mean, they live in New York City too, so they can go to places that are explicitly marked COVID conscious. And I don't know, Steven, that where you're at, you would have anything that is like an explicitly COVID conscious theater. I know that they still exist in larger marketplaces, but you know. Okay, so it sucks because it's like a kind of relentless cycle, and it's especially hard to uh put the genie back in the bottle, so to speak. Like when you've closed down so many theaters, and when I think maybe it was a very, very big mistake for theaters to debut their films on HBO Max, or for I mean, this was Warner Brothers, right? To do that with during the pandemic, they were debuting their films on HBO Max and theaters simultaneously, and it bombed theatrically as you would expect if you can just see it at home and like pay for an entire ass streaming service for less than the price of the ticket. Like that's a very easy calculation for the vast majority of people. And I think you got people accustomed to not having to wait, to just sort of having everything served to them immediately, right? And you've cheapened the appreciation of the work of art itself and of the of the experience of seeing a movie, right? It's considered more and more like disposable slop entertainment as opposed to like a work of art that you take time out of your day to go engage with, right? I think the pandemic traumatized me. I hardly go out anymore because I am over analytical to when people cough or sneeze, like super paranoid. I hate it. Dude, y'all are like speaking to me. Because I totally fucking get it. Like, and I did get sick this year. It was just a sinus infection, thankfully. I got COVID last year. I've only gotten it twice. Knock on particle board. that remains true, right? Yeah, I think the pandemic was both a mass traumatizing and a mass disabling event. And the average person decided that it would go away if they just decided it would go away, and that's not how it works. I think I understand listening to you guys. Like I'm always like, why am I the only person in a public space wearing a mask? And I think it's because the people who care enough are like, well, society has decided that we don't matter enough to to uh consider, right? And so like it's safer for us to just stay home and opt out entirely than to subject ourselves to the unwashed fucking diseased masses, right? It's always a battle when I'm out because I just want to run back home. So theaters, I usually go really early in the AM when no one is in the theater. That is the other thing that I like to do. I like to go to early screenings as much as I can because yeah, there's less people there. The people who are going to the movies in the morning are people who go for the movie. Like they're not just going for something to do after work or for like a late night date or something. Like they're usually there because they care about the film. So you get a better I think that's why I typically have good experiences in theaters is because I don't go like Friday nights at 7 or something to like the big thing, right? That's like not something I ever do. I'll go like if like when Superman came out, I saw it Tuesday morning for like the discount and the smallest crowd, you know? And I saw it in IMAX. So like people had to pay extra to be there and like presumably you like actually care about it if you've done that, right? So like that's why we're all here, right? So like but like I've been when I saw Novocaine this year, I was like, holy shit, is this what the average person's theatrical experience is like? Because there was like kids like fucking using laser pointers on the screen and like talking and just the worst, you know? So I get it. We're fully vaxxed, so I'm less worried about COVID on a rational level. It's the personal bubbles and knowing just how many of the people sitting near me probably voted for a big fucking Nazi bigot. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to exist in public for a lot of this stuff. But I will say, if you're out to see like the new Jafar Panahi, is that how you pronounce his name? I almost called that man Jafar Panini. That's so. Y'all can cancel me for that. Panahi, I think. There it is, Panahi. If you're out to see that, I highly doubt the Trump people are out seeing that shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Hi, Adrian. Thank you for being here. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say this because it sounds like you're trying to be less agoraphobic, but like, I think the vaccinating at this point just makes it so you don't get really sick. I think it's too much right now. Like nobody gives a shit, and like people are out here just doing it anyway. And like, I think the rate of infection is still fairly high, but like obviously the I don't know. The vaccines to me at this point feel more like, okay, if I do get it, it'll be a lot better as opposed to like preventing infection. Actually, this is a thing I can look up. How much does the COVID booster reduce risk of infection? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Recent data from late 2025 shows that the updated COVID boosters significantly reduced severe outcomes with effectiveness against hospitalization around 46% and even higher 68% for the newer variant. Although effectiveness against infection itself varies and wanes, emphasizing prevention of severe illness, hospitalization, and death is the primary goal. Yeah. Against severe diseases, the boosters are highly effective at keeping you out of the hospital, even if you get infected. Against infection, while they don't always block infection entirely, vaccinated individuals generally experience milder illness and recover faster. Yeah, so it's like, here it says, well, that's an old study. I mean, it's also a lower risk of long COVID as well. Like, it's obviously a good idea, but like, I think we just kind of adopted the policy to let it rip. And like, when there's that level of transmission happening, like, it's a lot harder for, I know I'm not an epidemiologist. That's my disclaimer to you all. But you know, it is what it is. Get vaccinated, please. And the more people who do it, the less likely there's going to be transmission. But the thing is, almost, let me look that up now. COVID booster vaccination rate 2025. Oh my god, dude. That's so bad. Dude. Per the CDC, which I guess when did this article come out? It just came out. So maybe this is complete bullshit. I don't know. You never know anymore. Oh boy. It's bleak that I'm on the CDC website and I'm not really sure that I can trust what's on it because now RFK has fucking ruined it. The percent of the population reporting receipt of the 2025 to 2026 COVID-19 vaccine is 7% for children and 15% for adults, including 32% among adults age 65 plus. So if you're fucking 80, there's still only a 1 in 3 chance that you got the fucking shot. 7% for children and 15% for adults? How the fuck are you supposed to prevent transmission with those kind of numbers? Like, I know that a little bit goes a long way, but like, bro, if it was up to me, this shit would not be optional. Like, those numbers would be at 98, 99%, you know, give or take for immunocompromised, or maybe 90%, something like that, so that we could widen the group of people that qualify for immunocompromised exemptions. Like, if your ass is out here like, oh, Jesus said I can't get the vaccine, I don't give a fuck. You're gonna do what you're gonna do for fucking public health. Like, that's how this shit works. Okay. Taking care of COVID patients, watching them die or be in the hospital for months, then going to the grocery store on my way home and seeing so many people out bothered me more than I can say. It was traumatizing. Like, if you were a person who actually cared, being the only person who cared for like years, still being the only person who cares for like years in perpetuity, it's traumatizing. It like, I'll think about this for the rest of my life. Like, how there was like maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, in 2020, like March to April to May, something like that, where I really felt like, wow, you know, like we're all undergoing this awful thing that isn't anybody's fault. That just is what it is. It's, you know, an act of nature or whatever. Like, and we're all like in it together. Like, everybody's helping each other out. Like, I remember this sense that like the government is dropping the ball. Like, it's a fucking Trump administration. We can't rely on them. But I was seeing so much of like other people do really beautiful things to help each other, right? I was seeing so many like people going out to their local restaurants for takeout to like support them, to help them weather the storm. People encouraging each other to stay home and like flatten the curve, and like businesses actually letting people work from home. And, you know, then we even had a moment where there was like some amount of like stimulus checks and support. And I was kind of like, wow, the average person is actually kind of okay. Like, we just have this sort of thing that's, you know, extracted from politics and polarization, you know, to the extent that something can be. Like, it was something that me and my parents agreed on. We were all just like, we're getting through this. We're making it happen. We're doing the things that need to happen, you know? Like, and it's like a month. It's like a month before the right wing completely lost their minds, as they are wont to do, as they always do, right? And just completely lost it and decided that this was like a political battle, decided to have a fucking tantrum, be big whiny titty babies for the rest of their lives because they're afraid of a shot. Just call it what it is, you know? But like, being that person who was like actually paying attention to the science and to the numbers and to the experts, and like following that advice and like doing the things you're supposed to do, and watching everybody else just kind of decide that they didn't care anymore. And like, it was like, well, but the numbers haven't changed. The science hasn't changed. Why have you changed? And it's like, because I'm just tired of it, because I'm bored of it, because it's done now. We have to get back to work. We have to get back to society, you know? Just decided that some number of people were going to be collateral damage in that pursuit, you know? This is a movie podcast, right? It's a movie stream thing. We talk about movies here. Thanks for indulging me. I guess for me, I don't see many movies in theaters and watch 15 in one 24-hour period. Yeah, that's true. When you average it out, yeah, I think you still see more movies than the average person. Here's another thing to Google. How many movies does the average person watch in theaters in a year? Yikes. Yeah. As of 2021, it was 1.4 movies per US adult. And I guess with me at like fucking 70, I'm the one pulling all the weight. Fucking up that average. Megan is higher than one, right? Jeez. Went to the local deli in Agrabah to get me a Jafar panini. Yeah. Okay. Okay, Steven. Thank you. You know what, though? If a fucking restaurant served a Jafar panini, that'd be tight. That'd be tight. 1.4, that can't be right. That feels right to me. People don't give a shit. Like, nobody goes anymore. That was 2021, too. Like, bro. There was a girl at my work who isn't religious at all and somehow got a religious exemption from her flu shot, and she did the same with COVID. This is somebody who works in the medical field. I hear this story a lot, and I don't understand it. I understand how the average person who doesn't work in this, like, you know, gets swept up in conspiracies and fucking, what else? Political whatever and all the other bullshit, you know, and they're like, oh, I don't need the vaccine, what for? The fucking the goddamn president told me I just needed to inject bleach instead or whatever the fuck. Like, it'll be fine. I understand how your average, like, fucking dumbass off the street thinks that, but, like, genuinely, how do you get to the point where you're working in medicine that you think something like that? Like, is this a person who had to get a degree in medicine? Like, this is high school shit, you know? Like, you learn this shit in, like, maybe even middle school. You learn what a vaccine is and how it works. Like, what's the disconnect? What's happening here, you know? It's a Christmas miracle that I have a tongue at all with how much biting I have to do at work. I don't know. I couldn't do it. It'd be like, what are you doing here? That's actually horrifying that those people are providing care, being where they are. She's a nurse, the girl that did this. Now, maybe I'm dumb. Do you need a degree to be a nurse? You need a degree to be a nurse. You need a nursing degree. You have to be registered. Yeah, okay. So you have to, like, learn something. That job, dude. Like, I don't understand. How does it happen? I love a themed sandwich. Secret Sandwich Society in Richmond is dope. 1.4, that can be. Yeah. There's a place in Chicago called Kuma's that does sandwiches all named after metal bands. Yeah, I've heard of that one. Is that the one that did one for Converge? I think so. Yeah, at least 2 years. Secret Sandwich Society. I know of this. Heard of it. I've never been here. Do they have vegan stuff? Let's find out. It's not that secret if I'm looking up the menu right now. I'm gonna have a cool salad. What else? Sandwiches. It's eggplant, my least favorite thing on the planet Earth. Let's see. Is there a non-eggplant option? It's not looking good. I can have a Beyond Burger for, like, a lot more money. Yeah, it's kind of rough. Hi, Val. Thanks for being here. We're talking about vaccines again. Oh, hi, Nosferatu. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. You're the best. Thank you. We have the ball rolling on our goal for fucking December. Thank you. Running that shit back. Hell yeah. Godzilla's dancing. You know what to do if you want our man to dance. All right. Thank you, Nosferatu. I appreciate it. Yep. Right back at you, bud. All right. I mean, I would go here if somebody like took me. um, but not my favorite. Not a ton of options here. Yeah. All right. Let's see. I don't think I ever got to my original point that like what you need to make theaters successful again, what you need to make movies successful again. I don't think that the streaming model is working. Maybe I'm wrong, but like if the theatrical experience is something that we care about, which I think it should be, if I don't know, like I don't think that maybe this is something I need to look more into, but I just don't see that the theatrical or that the streaming model is going to be as lucrative for the industry as a whole, right? I mean, it will be for Netflix, right? I don't know about the whole industry though. I don't know about the average filmmaker. If there's only one game in town for like getting your film distributed and making back any amount of money, getting any amount of funding, and it's all due to the whims of like one company, that can't be good, right? But anyway, the way to do it is you need to extend the theatrical window and you need to delay the home video release, right? You can maybe, I don't know, maybe you could have the VOD and the Blu-ray out like a month later. But at that point you are just opening up yourself to piracy, right? But especially like just streaming, like Prime, Netflix, the things that your average person has. If you've trained them to expect that in a month's time, that's wow, Ragnar, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, Steven. You're the best. We're getting there. 20%. Hell yeah. We are popping off. Let's run it back. I think I clicked your thing twice again. No? Nice. There it is. Thank you. You're the best. All right. Maybe I'll go get a sandwich from Secret Sandwich Society. Yeah, if you train people that they'll be able to see it on streaming, if not like soon, then basically immediately. Like, I mean, the windows are crazy. Like, by the time I'm done watching one thing and getting on to the next thing, it's already gone. Like, yeah. Yeah, you've just trained people that they don't have to make any effort, that they can just wait and it'll come to them, you know? And like, look, I'm going to also say that this has been very good for accessibility. Like streaming options are very good for people who have long COVID, who have disabilities, and make it such that if they were to go out and get sick, it would be a much, much worse thing for them than for people without those conditions, right? And so I do think that there's a happy medium, right? There's a way that you can, and maybe that's why the VOD slash physical release is what you want at that point, right? So that you give people the option, the accessible option at home, but it's not like, I don't know, you just have to extend the theatrical window, and you have to not train people that if they want to see something, they don't have to put any effort in or any money in whatsoever. Like, I don't know. That's the way that I would think you would have to do it, right? I also think you should, I think that's a big thing. I think it is a rational choice that the average person is making, that they're like, oh, I'd like to see that, but not if it's going to be in my TV in a month, you know? I don't have to do anything, or in a week, 2 weeks, like whatever, catch it then, you know? What was I going to say? I had something else. I had some other kind of thing. Oh, yeah, I think that you should, I don't know, I think that you need to give people more options. I think you need to get the word out on smaller, more original films, but also like, I think at a certain point, I think at a certain point, like you do have to say as a consumer, like, am I supporting the things that I say that I want, right? Like, the average person says things like, I want more original movies. I want no more IPs. I want, you know, this, that, or the, I want like a good movie again or whatever. And then like, well, which movies did you see? Which ones did you go see? You know, like if the only thing you saw this year was Jurassic World and Superman, what kind of message are you sending? If the only thing you saw this year was Zootopia 2, like, of course they're only going to keep making those things because those are the things that make money, you know? That's why I was so like adamant about supporting Sinners when it was out, because that was a fully original, like incredibly well done, like artful film that was like doing like big IP, big blockbuster tentpole numbers, you know? And that's just not a thing that happens anymore. So personally for me, if they wanted me to go to more movies, stop making everything CGI, also make movies that look like movies again. I hate how movies look like real life now. Yeah, there is also, and like Netflix is kind of the catalyst of this, where like they want it to look a certain way on streaming, and that's sort of being carried out elsewhere. But I don't know, man. There is something going on when I see Wicked for Good in a theater and it looks like complete dog shit. Like, I don't know. I think that the whole industry is sort of in crisis right now, and that's creating a lot of downstream effects, right? Back in the 90s, movies stayed in theaters for like 6 months or more in some cases. The video release didn't happen until a long time after the movie stopped in theaters. Yeah, I mean, that almost seems unfathomable now. I mean, if something were to stay in that long, it wouldn't be the only game in town. Like, you would have other options too at a certain point, right? So like, maybe it doesn't have to be quite that extreme. Maybe after 3 months, you give people some kind of at-home paid version of it, and then after 6 months, then it's just dumped on a streaming service or whatever. But like, I don't know. I'm of mixed opinions because I think Netflix does offer good things. Like, I think that they do offer accessibility, and I think that they do fund a lot of auteur-driven, like, real art projects and like real good movies. But I feel like that's in spite of their business model and of what they want, as opposed to because of it. Like, I think Apple TV is a much better example of like a company that's doing something like artful, like on purpose. Does this mean that Warner Brothers physical media releases will take a turn for the worse too? Netflix only dabbles in physical media here and there. Will I do the same for future Warner Brothers films? I can't imagine they would, right? Like, I don't want to sound too doomer or too negative or whatever, but like, hopefully they even see the value in keeping up like the fucking Warner archive, like, you know, at the very least, such that they can keep restoring films for their streaming service. But like, tons of companies are sitting on stuff. Like, Disney is sitting on the whole Fox catalog and not doing anything with it, you know? Like, I don't know. I just don't see how when they're like barely prioritizing theatrical, that they would even care a little bit about physical, right? Unless they just, I mean, the best you can hope for is that they don't actively cut it, because I don't see that they're going to be expanding it. But like, as long as the mechanisms are already in place and it is turning a profit, you would hope that they would be like, well, this isn't doing any harm for us, we might as well let it rip as is, right? But I think that again, they see that as competition to their business model, where like, if you can just buy the thing as opposed to keep you on the hook for their streaming service, like, they'd rather the latter, right? I remember seeing Titanic in the theater almost a year after its release date, and the theater was still packed. That's insane. I can't even imagine that. I also saw that like 10 times in the theater. That rules. 30 hours spent, at least. Need Godzilla 1985 in 4K with all its Dr. Pepper glory. Well, one can dream. All right, let's go back to this article. Was that transformative enough? Copyright people? Over the years, the company has dabbled with the idea of setting up a theatrical distribution operation like Warner Brothers, but it didn't have the appetite or the right volume of films to make the case. Other priorities worn out. Instead, Netflix often puts its prestige pictures in theaters for a short window to qualify them for Oscar consideration to appease filmmakers who want their movies on the big screen. Yeah, I just don't think that it's something that they actually care about past what it can do to build their reputation. Like, these aren't their, like, I feel like they're lost leaders or something like that. Like if they can have a bunch of Oscar nominations and if they can have a bunch of prestigious filmmakers tied to their brand, like that helps get their foot in the door for like being taken seriously, like as a studio and stuff, right? Which is I think part of the larger plan to like consolidate and make their streaming service more appealing to more people and to like I mean it all funnels into the streaming service, right? It's like their movies are basically tax write-offs now. I think a lot of them are. I don't know about the prestige stuff, but I think there's a lot of slop that if you need a weekly new thing for people to look at, you know, as long as there's something new, as long as it's vaguely interesting, like that's a tax write-off and like a new thing, a new shiny thing for people to look at, right? Netflix announced in 2022 that it would put the sequel to Knives Out in 600 movie theaters for a week, and theater owners called it a breakthrough, but it did not become a habit for the company. The theatrical windows for its movies remained limited. On November 26, Netflix released Wake Up Dead Man on 500 screens for 5 days, 2 weeks before it opens on Netflix. It's playing here longer than that. In one theater, in the theater I was talking about, but I think it's longer than 5 days. Like I had time to catch up on the movies and go see the new one. I'll be seeing it on Tuesday. So if you have that in your local cinema, go see it. That might be counterintuitive. I don't know. By giving the company money, but like, I think you want to send the message that this is something that is viable, that is profitable, and also like you deserve the experience of seeing like a good movie on the big screen, right? Jeff, you're fine. You can keep going as long as you want. We don't need $300 million movies. Bring back $2.5 million budgets and 90-minute movies. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a bizarre calculus that's happening where like everybody is going all in on these fucking huge tentpole things and expecting to make back $1 billion as opposed to just like really pushing like a 10, 20, $30 million thing and hoping to make 60, you know? David Gross, that's funny, who writes a weekly box office newsletter. If your last name is Gross, you were born to do that, my man. Said that the latest Knives film had the latest Knives film received a proper marketing campaign and a traditional theatrical release, it could have earned $275 million worldwide. This was based on comparison to the first movies, which was released in theaters and grossed $313 million back in 2019. I mean, I guess he would know more than me. I don't know that that's necessarily a guarantee, but like, that's a lot of money that you're potentially leaving on the table, right? Company's K-pop Demon Hunter sing-along entered theaters this year, months after it debuted on the service, and was a huge hit on New Year's Eve and Day. The finale, many are already sold out. I don't think Netflix is anti-theater, said Mr. Greenfield, the analyst. I think they will use the movie business as marketing for Netflix rather than as a core part of the business. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to be too doomer about it. It doesn't seem great. Let's see what else I have here. Yo, how did I do this? Here we go. Let's take a look at this one. Angst turns to anger in Hollywood as Netflix hooks Warner Brothers. Much of the entertainment capital fears that Netflix's deal will lead to more job losses and theater closings and fewer boundary-pushing movies. Some people might think that. Hollywood is mad. Jane Fonda raged against the deal in a letter to an entertainment news trade publication, calling the end of a standalone Warner Brothers an alarming escalation and a consolidation crisis that threatens the entire entertainment industry. The public it serves, and potentially the First Amendment itself. I mean, look. An unprecedented threat and vowed to fight it. Theaters will close, communities will suffer, jobs will be lost. Noting Netflix's policy of giving movies only token releases in theaters. Shares fell 8% on Friday. I don't know about that mattering too much. Like, the fucking stock market always just feels like, I don't know. It's like astrology for bros or something. Like, it's just fucking fake bullshit, you know? This merger must be blocked, the Writers Guild of America, which represents more than 12,000 screenwriters, said in a statement. The world's largest streaming company swallowing one of its biggest competitors is what antitrust laws were designed to prevent. I mean, you would think. I don't know. It just feels so completely obvious to me, you know? Like, this is just, like, at this point, we're just hoping for the best. But, like, obviously, like, like, antitrust laws exist for a reason and are desirable for a reason. And, like, the more that there's less competition, the worse, you know? The less competition, the worse is a better way of saying that sentence. We need to make an underground movie to bring back grindhouse theaters. Let's get people to piss in corners and bang hookers in the back rows again. I don't know that that's going to happen. Oh, an underground movement. I understand. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. Go to your local micro cinema. I'm sure most cities have something like a group of people DIYing it and like showing movies in a bar or in a community space or whatever. Support that as well, you know? I don't know, man. I really do feel like I've been telling people this for months. Like, go to the movies while you still can. Like, enjoy this while you can. We don't have one that's been established. I mean, but this is the sort of thing that isn't going to pull up on Fandango. Like, you have to kind of be in the know a little bit. And if you don't have one, you can start one. Like, seriously, like, hit up a bar, hit up AGFA, license something for cheap, and make a flyer and sell tickets. Like, that's something that you could do. Something that I have considered doing, and I am actually helping out with a local micro cinema. But here in Richmond, we actually have enough that I don't think there's a need for another one. I'd rather support the ones that exist because there's a few. But yeah, if you don't have one, this is something that you can start. Micro cinemas are really cool. Community spaces for films. Big deal. As recently as April, in response to a question at the Time 100 Summit about declines at the overall box office, Mr. Sarandos said, "What is the consumer trying to tell us? That they'd like to watch movies at home." He also called theaters an outmoded idea for most people. Netflix wants to kill the theater. I mean, I think that that's what I just read, right? Like, that's pretty obvious. Like, and I think most people, I don't know, man. This is not the thing that I want to say as a person who is making a career in film criticism, but like, hey, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that. I don't know, like, as a person who's trying to make a career in film criticism, I don't think that I don't like saying this, but I do feel like the art form in general, like, is being devalued and like less and less people care about. Like, I just don't know that that's where society is at anymore, you know? It feels more like it's about online content like this, like what I'm doing right now. I'm like paradoxically trying to fix the problem and contributing to it by creating competition when you could be watching a movie instead, you know? Like, I am participating in the very thing that I think is killing cinema as an art form, right? Technology can be a great thing, hence how we have all found each other here, but technology is a giant detriment and killing things that are important. I guess so. I don't know that technology is the problem here. I think it's more so people valuing convenience, which is something that they're going to value pretty much all the time. Like I think that that's the number one thing that people value in their lives, at least in America, right? Entertainment workers in Los Angeles, camera operators, producers, hairstylists, writers, actors, set designers, editors have already been struggling with the contracting job market as a result of the pandemic, 2 union strikes, and exodus of production to cheaper locales, and the rise of AI. Tens of thousands of workers have been laid off by Hollywood companies since 2020. I mean, yeah, I don't know. That sort of, yeah. So on Friday, there was a keen understanding that consolidation was just another word for job loss. It happened in 2019 when Disney bought 20th Century Fox for $71 billion. So that's, I mean, when you consider inflation, that was a more expensive deal, I think, right? And it happened this year when Skydance Media, led by David Ellison, took over Paramount as part of an $8 billion merger. In October, Paramount began laying off more than 2,000 workers across its movie and television businesses to cut $3 billion in costs. Well, it's good to know that that's always evergreen, is the first to go is the people, right? Yeah, best of luck there. Representative Laura Friedman, a Democrat whose Burbank congressional district includes many of Southern California's major film institutions, said, "I'll be watching this deal closely to make sure it supports workers in LA." Wouldn't hold your breath on that one. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna be really sad as theaters continue to close. Hasn't happened yet. Hasn't happened yet. Where since I've been going to the movies, that one of my local theaters is closed, but it feels inevitable, right? The local theater that I was talking about that actually hosts cool stuff, where I'll be seeing the new Knives Out movie, they recently did some very, very expensive renovations on some what I think are superfluous things, but also on stuff that really matters and like actually makes the more expensive ticket like worth it, like recliners. I mean, this is the other thing, right? You have to make the experience more desirable, and like the seats in theaters fucking suck. Like they're awful. They're so uncomfortable. And the recliners are fucking nice. And like if there's an option there, I'll pay more to go to the recliner seat, right? It's just far better. And so I think it's probably time for Regal and AMC to like invest in upgrading their seats. I doubt that'll happen, but it would be a big thing to get people to go out, you know? Just kind of scanning this article. I don't know, man. It also just feels wrong. Like Warner Brothers is such a like storied and prestigious sort of studio with so many like things in its history and under its belt. Um like being under the umbrella of Netflix, which to me is just so strongly associated with like slop and like I don't know, like more like TV shows and more like I don't know, it's just a different thing, you know? It doesn't feel right. I think what would help theaters or drive-in theaters. This is a way you don't have to worry about sitting next to someone you don't know. You're with your friends and can even talk if wanted. I mean, it's not a bad idea. There's one drive-in theater like within driving distance of me, and I haven't been yet. It doesn't feel like my favorite way to watch a movie, because I don't know that the car seats are going to be that comfortable, and the sound quality is obviously going to be pretty bad. But it's probably fun, right? Michelle Mulroney, president of Writers Guild of America West, and a screenwriter, called the proposed merger a disaster. Netflix's core business relies on all of us sitting on our couches consuming their content, which we already do in large numbers. These mergers always promise benefits, but they always deliver diminished competition, lower pay, and fewer jobs for workers. It's a very dismal day. I think that pretty well sums it up. And I have one more article I wanted to look at, and then we can move on to a different topic. This one is pretty bleak, I would say. Oh, hold on, let me get past the paywall. I canceled my Time subscription a while ago on account of their rampant transphobia and Islamophobia. And just straight up pro-genocide shit. Enlightened centrist bullshit. I mean, the New York Times is a fucking disaster. So, yeah. Sound quality wouldn't be bad. Now you can connect to your car stereo via Bluetooth. I mean, but like that's never going to be as good as like a real theater setup, right? A real sound system in a theater. It's better than like nothing, or I guess it's better than like your TV, but like, you know. All right, let's take a look. Netflix's swallowing of Warner Brothers will be the end of Hollywood. That's a grim image, says Roy Price, the chief executive of International Art Machine Entertainment Studio, and was previously the head of Amazon Studios. Okay. For a century, people have been predicting the death of Hollywood. Television will kill it, then home video, then the internet, then streaming, then AI. The predictions were always premature. Hollywood always reinvented itself and kept going. Yeah, I mean, at least he's hedging the argument at the start here with like, this is a pretty bold claim, and like, you know, it's not like this is an original thought or like this hasn't been talked about before, right? So let's see how he sticks the landing here. But if Netflix acquires Warner Brothers, this long prophesied death may finally arrive. Okay, may, and then here's a will. So, all right, already walking it back a bit, but I get it that they don't always pick their headlines, so whatever. I agree that it may destroy Hollywood. Not in the sense that filmmaking will cease, but in the sense that Hollywood will become a system that circles a single sun, materially changing its cultural output. All orbits, every deal, every creative decision, every creative career will increasingly revolve around the gravitational mass and imprimatur of one entity. Help me out here. Reading real, an official license by the Roman Catholic Church to print an ecclesiastical or religious book, a person's acceptance or guarantee that something is of a good standard. Okay. Got you. Reading real stuff. You get to learn new words. Let's switch over here before I get in trouble. The danger here is not annihilation, but centralization. Netflix is the #1 premium streaming service. Warner Brothers is one of the most successful of the legacy film studios, and HBO has long been the premier brand in prestige television. These are not middling players. They are two of the main pillars of the modern entertainment industry. The scale in itself should give regulators pause. Netflix will spend roughly $18 billion this year on content, and Warner Brothers will spend around 20 in a very inclusive analysis that So this merger would roughly double Netflix's share of industry spending to 18% from 19%. It's pretty grim when you've got like 1 in 5, you know, 20% almost of like the entirety of entertainment like expenditure is from one company. Okay. Mm-hmm. The consideration of consumer choice is particularly relevant in a culture-producing industry. When two of the most important sources of premium programming are combined, the marketplace loses an entire programming philosophy, a unique sensibility, a separate development culture, an independent set of tastes, relationships, and risk thresholds. Yeah, I mean, not just like a business monopoly, but like a cultural monopoly, I think is also something worth calling out and warning against, you know? Having fewer bidders generally means that fewer shows get made, fewer visions means a narrower range of storytelling, consolidation aligns decision-making around one organization or one individual's point of view. If the merger proceeds, the feature film development ecosystem already imperiled will be further constrained, leading to fewer and less interesting movies. And what will this new entity nurture? The kind of risky sensibility that brought us premium television like The Sopranos and The White Lotus. But nowhere will the effects be more consequential than the business of theatrical film. Warner Brothers is a cornerstone in the movie theater distribution system, reliably accounting for more than 15% of the major studio theatrical box office. Netflix, by contrast, has been explicitly hostile to theatrical releases. Yeah. If Netflix chooses to shrink or eliminate Warner's theatrical slate, theatergoers across America will feel the impact immediately. I don't know, man. Think about if One Battle After Another and Sinners had not been in theaters. Oh, come on. In making a case for approval, Netflix may argue. Not that it did argue. Okay, I'm not going to read that then, because that's just conjecture. Okay, so why is that in here? I don't know that this article is very good. We'll see. It says that they may argue that the market that they're a part of is part of the larger project of human amusement, which includes taking a walk, so they're not monopolizing. It's like, I don't know, did they make that argument? Because that's like very obviously silly. And now he's debunking this, which, like, I mean, yeah, that's silly, but I don't know that that's what's going to happen. Yeah. This reasoning essentially spurred the Department of Justice to block the proposed Penguin Random House merger with Simon & Schuster in 2022. In that case, the issue was not consumer prices, it was diminished bargaining powers of authors. Yeah, I mean, that's another thing, is that, like, when there's less competition to, when there's less people to sell to, like, as a fucking filmmaker, right? If you can only sell it to one person, they're less likely to approve that or to give you more money or to whatever if you don't have a counter offer from Warner Brothers, right? If they're the only fucking game in town, then it's like, it's a yes or no. You know, you don't have any leverage or like bargaining power, right? Hollywood has survived many predicted deaths, but has never tested what happens when the number of major creative buyers collapses towards one dominant center of gravity. Wouldn't just a merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers wouldn't destroy Hollywood, but it would flatten its creative diversity, weaken its theatrical channel, and bring a huge cultural category under the near total control of a single company. What are we doing? New York Times headline. Netflix's swallowing of Warner Brothers will be the end of Hollywood. Let me show you this. So I'm not making it up. Netflix's swallowing of Warner Brothers would be the end of Hollywood. Get to the end. A merger between Netflix and Warner Brothers wouldn't destroy Hollywood. It's fucking, come on, man. You know? I don't know. All right. If anybody has any last minute thoughts, that's fine. But we've been going 90 minutes on this. I've been yapping. Let's take a look at Kino. I don't know. I'm still kind of, I don't want to be too doomer about it, you know? I don't want to be, it just feels pretty bad. But like, there's also a case to be made that Netflix isn't quite the villain that we've made it out to be, that like they do still produce a lot of really interesting films. I just that part of that is because they have to compete with studios making real movies, you know? That's like the whole incentive for them to do that. It's bleak. All right, let's pop on over here. Let me sign in to my account on kinolorber.gov. I probably won't spend too much time on this because I feel like it's the same set of movies every time, but let's take a look. 3D Nudie Cuties collection. Nudie Cuties are usually boring as shit, and I don't have 3D capability, so that's probably not going to be for me, but, you know. As always, feel free to call out any movies that you want to recommend. What the hell are all of these airport movies? Airport 1975, and Airport 77. It's a lot of airports, bro. Awesome Wonderland. Alphaville is great. Check that out. Mad Love. I haven't seen this, but I do have it. Angel is great. I'm more a fan of Jess Franco, so I'm into that. The Apartment is an all-time fucking banger on the Imprint cast about this, so check that out. I don't feel the need to upgrade it, but I do like it. Asphalt is a really good silent film. Oh no. Am I freezing? Okay, we're back. Hopefully. All right, are we back? I think. Yeah, hopefully that stays. But I forgot to turn my Wi-Fi off at the beginning of the stream again. Thanks, Val. I appreciate it. Okay. We're back. We're back. See, the thing is, I don't know why, but when I turn my Wi-Fi off in the middle of the stream, it doesn't seem to help. But if I do it at the beginning and it connects via the hardwire, then it works okay. Yeah, keep me posted if this happens again so I don't waste everyone's time going through when it's just fucking not working. Baby Blood is really good. This nasty French movie. It's maybe not as good as I wanted it to be. I think it was a little bit overrated. But I did really like it. I think that the people in this audience would dig it too. Baxter, dog movie. Beware of the dog that thinks. Probably good advice. The Bank Dick. This is a Criterion movie. It's not very good, but if you want HD versions of all the Criterion films, you're going to want that one. The Big Country is a classic. I love that movie. By the way, if you have this already, like not before they reissued it with the slipcover, you don't need it again. It's exactly the same, just with a slipcover. So, like sometimes they add features or they remaster it. Didn't happen here. The Eureka of this is better, but it might be out of print at this point. So get the Blue Angel. Bob Le Flambeur is good. Whorehouse. Oh, that's the Jess Franco, I'm assuming. Brick is pretty decent. I mean, if you want to get some insight into the beginning of Rian Johnson's career, it's probably where you want to start. Having a Dr. Caligari, you should get the Eureka instead. Can the Canary, I believe, also has a better Eureka. Yeah, Jeff does not like Franco. Oh, the best little whorehouse in Texas is up above. I understand. I have never seen that one. Was that in 4K or just regular style? Bluebeard's eighth wife is really fun. I like this one a lot. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, here it is. Just regular style Blu-ray with a slipcover. Tells me that they put it out fairly recently and it's not selling that well, so doesn't seem like a likely 4K anytime soon. CB4, I don't know what this is, but it looks interesting. Consumer advisory, explicit lyrics. Weird. MC Gusto, Stabmaster Arson, and Dead Mike. Stabmaster Arson is a hard ass, but they're also, oh no, Ice-T is not Ice Cube. My bad. This outrageous rapumentary is packed with cameos. This looks fun. And Alexandra Heller-Nicholas is on it. That's cool. Yeah, I would check this out for sure. Not on my radar before, so thanks for calling that out. This Jean-Luc Godard is pretty cool. I've not seen this one, but I think the real ACAB shit. Classic Ghosts. This is a fuck. Thank you guys. Sorry about that. I don't know. We might have to cut it. Let me try this. It's probably gonna cut again. Okay, but stay with me. No, let's not do that. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. I'm here now. All right. This should work. Now I am purely hardwired via the Ethernet. Okay. This should work. There's no reason why it shouldn't work at this point. I'm back. We're back as fuck. We're so back, dude. It actually works this time. That's crazy. Okay. Hopefully it stays that way. All right. How's my battery doing? My battery's doing okay. I mean, still not where it should be, but it's doing okay. Okay. Let's go back. 70s Gothic television. This is TV movies. Our friend Amanda Reyes should be all over this. Yep. Very cool. 5 feature-length teleplays shot live on videotape and meticulously restored. I didn't realize that these were SOV films. That's really cool. Not only do these Gothic thrillers showcase an array of celebrated actors, but are notable for having been produced by a primary female creative team, including producer Jacqueline Babin. All 5. Haunting of Rosalind, The Screaming Skull, The Deadly Visitor, The House in the Brain, and The Bones Came Together. This is really cool that they did this. And I'm glad that the slipcover sold out. But $15 for 5 movies is pretty good. Tough to beat that. Okay, I don't know how much it... Christmas in July. I love this movie. I might program it for my Christmas marathon this month. And Sam Deegan's on it. So I need to listen to that. I bought this shit in 2021. I have seen it, but I've not watched the Blu-ray yet. So maybe we should do that. Is it buffering again? I mean, if it's really going to keep buffering like this, then I don't know. Oh, my thing is messed up a little bit. There we go. I don't know, y'all. If we're doing connection issues again, maybe it's time to call it. The goal, though, is that you can enjoy me listening. Yeah, it's just not working. Yeah, fuck this. Okay, this is something that we're gonna have to investigate for next week. Let's go ahead and call it. Sorry, y'all. The Kino sale will still be going next week, but let's go ahead and run back the tips, and that'll be that. Okay, I think it went through. I'm gonna hit it again just in case. Have a good night, y'all. Thank you. I am also sorry that this is fucked up. Not super professional of me, but thanks, Steven. I don't know why it only happens after about an hour and a half of streaming. Like, that's weird, right? Like, you would think it would just be happening from the jump. Anyway, I think it missed the replay. So here's this again. Hopefully it works. Shout out you all. I love you all very much. Oh, thank you, Jeff. That's very sweet of you. Okay, y'all. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. I know we went long. You all giving me your insights and stuff. And okay, we're back. I'm going to stop trying. I'm just going to call it now. Thank you. Bye. I'll see you next week.